Peace. We live long and we prosper. Rumble and YouTube family, what's good? What's happening? Welcome to True Work Tuesday with your man Ironwork 92,000. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to be hosting y'all tonight and making it another week to where we've got some of the worst internet in the planet. We've got internet, a connection is so poor, it makes the connection between Earth and the Voyager, which actually doesn't exist, seem as if it's right on top of each other. Speaking of the Voyager, before we get into tonight's business, these guys are constantly, I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it. So the claim is that the Voyager is back on. So if you don't know, the Voyager is billions upon billions of miles away from Earth, traveling. I don't even know. It's not like I'm going from here to Main Street or Park Avenue in Manhattan. They don't even know what the hell it is. It's wild. The Voyager's just out there traveling at like 35,000 miles an hour, 38,000 miles, something stupid, something just crazy, right? And then while it's out there, it breaks and then it fixes, then it breaks and then it fixes. And then they manage to take a picture of the Voyager at a distance, and then they're showing Earth, this little tiny, it looks like a freaking grain of sand. They're like, there's Earth. And I'm like, okay, I give up. And then people believe it. They're like, magnificent. That must be 55,000 astral units, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You just talking mess, as usual, as per the norm. But whatever, it is what it is, man. So, internet's bad, but there are changes that are going to be made to where I will have the best internet in the world. Right now, I live in the sticks, so that's not at all possible. Now, to the team who's out here tonight, Mr. Jones, salute, half warrior, always a pleasure. What's happening, brother? Always good to see y'all, man. It's always a pleasure to have y'all in my corner. Really appreciate y'all being here, and you know, we always fill up the house, man. We always fill it in. You know what I'm saying? So, man, there's been a lot this week, and as usual, you know, I was thinking, and maybe y'all could help me out. Anytime I think of this, listen, when I think of something, it's not the end all be all. Obviously, y'all know that. I don't claim to know everything. There are some things that I do know, but am I sure? So then I run it through you guys. You guys serve as my filter, and then you could think about it, and then we could discuss it amongst ourselves. We could come to some kind of agreement or disagreement, or just a different way of seeing things. You know what I'm saying? So this is one thing I noticed. Here's one thing I noticed. Actually, a few things that I noticed. And it's like I get scattered. But let me get to the point. So we've been discussing about this true Earth. We've been discussing a lot of the magnetic field, right? The different magnetic fields and everything like, well, not really different magnetic fields, just the magnetic field, the Earth functioning with the center being the North Pole, right? The North magnet, and then it sending its magnetic lines of flux around or outside of the North Pole throughout the whole world. So I'm sitting there thinking, we have these depictions, maybe not of the Rupus Negris or the Rupus Negra, but we have depictions of something in the middle of the earth. Daniel saw it as the tree, a huge tree, right? Daniel in the book of Daniel, he saw it as a huge tree. The North see it as a tree as well. They see it as Yggdrasil, the tree of life, in the middle of this realm, right? What's one thing you notice about trees? Of course, when they sprout and they come up and then they give their leaves off, they kind of spread out like that. They come up and they spread out. It's like a huge broccoli, right? So my thing is that the formation of trees and their sprouting of leaves is the same principle of as above, so below. Here's why I'm saying that. So the tree has its not its stem, but its body, right? Its trunk. Excuse me. Dang, English is like the ninth language for me. But the tree has its trunk. It comes up, branches, and then it's branches. I guess you could say boughs, branches, twigs, leaves, right? And then as you go down, you may not have exactly that, but you have a root system that if we were to clear out all the dirt, right, from underneath that tree, and we were to look at the root system, it would look much like what the branches and the boughs look like, right? The branches, the boughs, and the twigs, suns, the leaves. Now, why is that important? Because it's not just a two plane thing, but it goes in all different directions, right? 360 degrees, but it functions and it looks the way it looks. It looks as if it is a like a functioning magnet. It works the same as a magnet. A tree does. And so if you look exactly like the toroidal magnetic field as above, so below. Thank you. You guys are following. Y'all see what it is I'm talking about. So this it sprouts up, it sprouts down. The human body is much the same way. Where we, of course, we have our chakras, our energy fields, that's what people call them. But if you were to look at our field that goes out and comes in, and and folks saying that could see people's auras and stuff like that, and see people's energy fields. That as you breathe, your aura, or your, and I guess you could equate your people's aura as their magnetic field, right? But your magnetic field goes out as you exhale, or as you in, and then when you inhale, it comes in, and then as you exhale, it goes out, right? Kind of like a functioning magnetic field, right? I guess you could say a uh, a motor would function much the same way. Truth shall set you free, brother. Always a pleasure. Salute. How you doing, man? How you doing? Always good to have you in the house. Now, um, I'm saying all that to say this. It seems as if there's a lot more than just things that we could see on the outside, replicating things like trees in the magnetic field. Because I was thinking how trees obviously function and then just have their day to day. They sprout, they go up. The leaves collect carbon dioxide, right? They process it, they do what they do, but at the same time, you have energy coming up through the bottom, going out through the top, and then it recycles. And then when you think about it, a tree, just like I said before, it functions just like a magnet. Now, one of the things that the tree needs in order to get nutrients is water, right? So giving a tree water is great, but what's carried with the water is a lot of nutrient. So which is why you mix a lot of the water with the soil and everything, and then it's like drinking a big old shake. You know what I'm saying? The shake has something in it. Like if I don't know what would happen if you gave a tree or plants pure distilled water, right? Or PDW, like we like to call it in the Navy. But since it doesn't have any kind of mineral or anything, mineral content, and it's a deionized water, right? And so, like a deionized water, you could basically use as an insulator, provided it doesn't have any ions and no minerals and nothing like that. It's just water, right? And it runs right through you. And like I said, you could use it as an insulator, which means that if you put like a live wire in there, you wouldn't get shocked because it doesn't have any kind of minerals in it. Now, if you were to give that to a plant, give that to a tree, I don't think it would survive because it doesn't have any nutritional content. Now, when a tree sucks up the water in order to, survive and do the tree's process like plants do also, it takes the water from below, it brings it up. The water runs like a current, right? And then that brought me, now I know I might sound a little bit scatterbrained, but just bear with me. The water runs a little bit like a current. And so if it does run like a current, you got to think it does things, it does things to affect things above on the outside. So when I say above, I'm talking about underground water, right? And how do I know that? Because we have something that maybe some of us might have tried when we were kids, or maybe some of your grandparents or great grandparents might have tried during the whole homesteading of the United States. Dowsing. Why do people douse? Right? Some people say it's only to find water. That's not true. That's not true. There is a change in the Earth's magnetic field. And if you're looking for something, I don't know, some people pray, some people meditate, and then they get a couple of things to douse with that I've seen. I've seen the two dowsing rods. They look like two hangers, right? Uh, at right angles, two coat hangers, it looks like, and then they'll have them in their hand. And then the coat hangers will either point in the direction of where the water source or whatever it is they're looking for, treasure, gold, is. And once they get on top of it, a lot of times the dowsing rods will point, be parallel with one another, point, point. Once you're like on top of it, it'll close in. And then once you're like over top of it to where it's like behind you, it starts to cross. But they use either the dowsing rods, like that, the metal ones, or they'll get the U branch. And so the U branches oftentimes look like a slingshot, big old slingshot, and it's split in a Y. And then they'll take that, walk with it, and they walk with the dowsing rod parallel to the ground. And as they walk with it, once they get that strong electromagnetic attraction to running current or whatever it is they're looking for, it'll shoot right down to the source of what it is. Now, I'm thinking that water is such a vital, we know it's vital, right? Water has some spiritual properties that our minds are so messed up. We've already been thinking some kind of way to where the ball was irrelevant, to where the ball earth was a thing for us. Now we're trying to get out of that, but it's still difficult because we have an imprint of how we think things, just objects, things in this world, in this realm need to function, need to be, right? Palpable life. And so, like those principles as far as water generating some kind of electromagnetic flux might seem a little foreign to us. But once you apply terms like potential or damming, right, or flowing water, current, right, then it starts to become plausible and possible to where these things, they seem like they could be possible, they could be a reality. But I'm just saying, and just bear with me, just please just bear with me, and hopefully you could find your way and help me find mine as well. And I'm thinking about this, and as I'm thinking how the trees function to pull in water from these underground currents, bring the water in, get the nutrients, do their photosynthesis stuff, and then what do the leaves do? They release oxygen, but then at night they take in oxygen, or they take in carbon dioxide, excuse me. So one thing we can equate to the leaves on a tree, we can equate that to, I guess you could say, alveoli, right? If you don't know what alveoli is, it's those little buds at the end of your bronchioles, which are within your lungs. If you look at how the lung is structured, right, the human lung, it looks a lot like, with the two brachials and stuff like that. The human lungs look exactly like a tree. They look like a tree, as above, so below. The remainder of the lungs that spread out with the bronchioles and the alveoli and everything, they spread out to the rest of your lungs. But the top, the real thick part, comes up, and then it does what lungs do. It does what it does. But they look like a couple of trees, a couple of trees with their trunks. So you also have to think about how lungs function, right? You have to think about how lungs function and the process by which they transfer O2. Now, I'm thinking about all this because I'm thinking about how you can just suffocate even if you think you're breathing at altitude, right? if you're not in a pressurized or contained pressurized system, simulate the pressure of 14, I think it's here. It's like 14.1 psi here, 14.7 psi here on sea level. But that can simulate that at altitude. If you lose that air pressure at altitude, you'll suffocate. Things like your blood will boil, right? What happens, I guess there's a blood and air exchange inside of your lungs, where when you breathe in, you take in breathable air, 79% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, some stuff like that, right? Or 20% oxygen with a bunch of other elements in between, other gases in between. And then there's a blood and O2 transfer between your heart, your lungs, the cardiopulmonary system, and in which they, somewhere between, I guess, the air sac. I haven't seen it, but the way I was taught it is somewhere between there. Once the oxygen it somehow gets separated and then it gets distributed to the rest to your heart to where it gets distributed to the rest of your body. I don't know. I don't fully know, but I do recognize that you look at trees inside your chest, and those trees pretty much function the same way with a gas exchange. A gas exchange and a gas exchange out here on Earth functions the same way. And the reason I'm mentioning electricity, gas, trees, like there was a lot that came to me at one time. It's like God dumped a whole puzzle on me, a jigsaw puzzle, and I have to kind of piece it together. And so, really, what it is, family, is that I'm running it by you guys. So, if I give you my thoughts, maybe we can tackle this puzzle together. In the Bible, I think it's Genesis chapter 2, where God says he breathed life into Adam. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I'm going to show it to y'all. Go ahead, I'm going to show it to y'all. We're here talking about it. I'm going to show y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've ever seen it. Right? I want to show you guys something. Okay? This is mind-boggling. And what you're going to see here will kind of bring together what it is that I'm trying to illustrate to you. These are lightning strike victims. You see that? What does that look like? What does all of this here look like? This is arcing. So these are people that get hit with either arcing at work, right? And the lightning terminates within their body, and this is what it does. This is the effect that it does. This is not henna. This is the henna. But when people get struck by lightning, this is what it looked like. You see this? Wow, that one's amazing. This looked like he might have got struck in the head, and then it probably came out his arm or something like that. But this is pretty much where it terminates. Look at that. So possibly, when you think about it, there may have been something similar when God breathed the breath of life into Adam. Because anytime we think of life, anytime we see things like Godzilla and Frankenstein and stuff like that, when Godzilla's getting his butt kicked in the movies, what do they do to kind of help Godzilla out? They defibrilize him. Right? They hit him with the defibrillator. So they'll send him to a bunch of power lines. He'll hit the power lines, and then he'll get shocked, and then he'll get all his powers back, and his fire stream is much stronger and everything. Godzilla's like back in the fight. Frankenstein. When Frankenstein gets awakened by Dr. Frankenstein, he sends a big old charge to him. And then boom, boom, and then you got the big lightning bolt striking Castle Frankenstein and everything. And then he's alive. He's alive. Who is this? Hello? Who's this? People wasting my time, right? And so I don't know. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear me. Trooper, trooper. Who's this? Bug, what's up? What's up? My daughter. Okay. Sweetheart. Sweetie. All right, baby. Let me give you a call back in a little bit, okay? All right, I'm on my show now. I love you. Bye. Bye, baby. Sorry, y'all. That was my daughter. I didn't know who that was. I thought it was just some like Chinese bot or something like that. I apologize. We're back into the fight. If you guys can hear me, fantastic. Thank you. But if you look at how these things terminate, Genesis chapter 2, the Most High says, he breathed the breath of life in the nostrils of Adam. And when he did that, he brought Adam to life. He basically did CPR, like a CPR on him. And so, possibly just breathing the breath of life inside of Adam, he created his lungs. He created the bronchioles. He brought those things to life. You know what I'm saying? When you look at how it's crazy how electricity works. Arcing takes like around 300,000, like 350,000 volts. What I mean by arcing is to get a spark, right? To jump from one end of one probe to another probe. It's like 350 volts per centimeter, I think it is. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of atom excitement just to produce that light in order to get that arc from point A to point B. So that's a lot of electricity. That's a lot of potential happening within that space. Now, just to reproduce that and to have that wind, to have wind happen, and then oh man, okay, hopefully this is there. To have wind happen and just the relationship and the correlation between wind and electricity. Now I sound like Pastor Pork Chop. Can you hear me? Oh man, okay. I'm gonna turn that phone off. My bad. Yeah, you're right. I apologize, y'all. I don't want to sound like Pastor Pork Chop or anything, but like I said, I'm giving you all these things. Maybe you guys could take all my thoughts and then we could kind of crunch it together. Well, yeah. So think about it, right? I want you to think about it. Something like, and eh, the reason I mention it is because there is some correlation between that and getting to more intimately this flat realm that we live in. I don't like, listen, I'm sure some of what I mentioned can help put a lot of your theories together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure some of what I've mentioned those guys, those 10-pound brains out there that know that this realm is flat, are probably searching for more. And maybe I could help stimulate their thought with what it is I'm explaining and what I'm describing, because there's got to be some kind of truth to it, right? Um, and so, like when I mentioned, God breathing into Adam's nose and then giving him his lungs and giving him his life, essentially. And so then when we take a big giant step back and we look at how the earth functions, and what I mean by how the earth functions, I'm talking about the earth, the firmament, the sun, the moon, whatever's in the middle, the tree of life, Rufus Negra, whatever it is, right? And we know we have the sun and the moon. Those are two polar opposites right there. When they say day unto day uttereth speech, it's like the sun could be oppressive. It burns, right? Night unto night shows knowledge. Where you quiet up, you take it easy. And of course, the moon represents the feminine side. the sun represents the fast, the furious, the hot, the male side, right? Whereas the moon, like I said, is the cool, calm, and you're just absorbing, you're taking it in. Those things functioning together, do you know where they stay in and out of? They stay in and out of, in between, and not out of, but in between your tropics. They stay in between your tropic of Cancer at the top, your tropic of Capricorn at the bottom, and in the middle you have your equator. The sun never gets outside, and so it does the circuit all year round. Do you know that that's where the trade winds happen? Within your tropic of Cancer and your tropic of Capricorn is where your trade winds happen. So those two electromagnetic phenomena that are in the sky, both the sun and the moon, it's as if as they move, they're pulling a current at the same time. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes some kind of sense for y'all. Let's go to the chat right here. I want to greet the team. Say hi to everybody. Mr. Jones, half warrior. The Ghost of Judah tribe. What's going on, brother? It's good to see you, man. I apologize. I didn't get to make it the last time. That's my fault. I apologize. I wanted to show some love anyway and say what's up and drop a comment, drop a like. And while you guys are coming in, please drop a comment, drop a like if you guys are commenting, drop a like, share, and all that good stuff. Just last week, all right, so I'm going to get off the breathing thing, but I wanted to show you guys this. This is what arcing does, right? When the arcing is excessive and like you get shocked either at work from some kind of electric panel or you get struck by lightning, that's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like. And it looks like it looks like it sucks. So yeah, that's what arcing looks like. And I'm just saying the correlation between arcing from electricity, breathing, the breath of life, trees, our lungs, and hell, even the waters being like our blood, the seawater being like our blood, and having current and the same properties as our blood. It's just crazy. I think it's fascinating. I think it's magnificent. Anyway, so today, if you guys don't know, I made a video, and it was pretty much talking about the it was talking about the damn debate that Austin Whitsitt had between Harrison. Harrison is a gentleman that works on InfoWars, Alex Jones's show. And if you guys don't remember, if you guys don't know, David Weiss, I'm not going to say no names because I don't want to forget and it not be David Weiss and it be somebody else. I don't really remember. But somebody said that something to the effect of Alex Jones. See the tree of life. Yeah, it does look like a woman's placenta. Good call. Wow, I didn't even notice that, but yeah, there you go. There you go. Mm. But Alex Jones, if you'd seen Alex Jones and you've seen Eddie Bravo on his show, Eddie Bravo is good at impersonating Alex Jones and everything else like that. I could probably pull it up actually. Alex Jones. Where is it? Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. But Eddie Bravo was basically making fun of Alex Jones for Alex Jones saying, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. But making fun of Alex Jones for Alex Jones saying, oh, damn it, the earth is flat. I can't believe it. Damn it. Can you believe that? You know how Alex Jones be getting hyped up, right? So Eddie Bravo made fun of him. Apparently, Alex Jones, let me get that off the screen. It might be scaring some of y'all. I totally understand. Let me get it out. All right. So Alex Jones got talked to by somebody. Apparently, we already know that Alex Jones had his drama to deal with in regards to the whole, you know, that thing hook where those people got mowed down and harmed and they were very young. You know what it is. That thing hook that David Weiss talks about that happened in Connecticut. But Alex Jones apparently got busted and then he lost money to the tunes of like almost $1 billion with a beat, right? And so they did that to him. Plus, not to mention, somebody got to him to where after that, Alex Jones goes to his staff and says, "Yo, any of y'all talk about flat Earth, you getting fired." Boom, cool. So now, fast forward to now, Austin Whitsitt goes against this guy named Harrison, kind of like I was just talking about, right? And it's wild because you're going to get to see here tonight, and we're going to break some of it down, but you're going to see here tonight just the games that this guy Harrison plays. And it's crazy because I feel as if while Harrison is saying this, like he kind of doesn't mean it. And then you're going to even see Alex Jones come up in there and say his the earth isn't flat. You know what I'm saying? And so while Alex Jones is in there saying his piece, and this guy's over there saying his piece, right? You could just tell it's totally disingenuous. And I give Austin props because just him having his patience and just describing to him everything that's going on with the true earth, why the earth isn't a globe and everything else like that. Like you could tell that the dude's denial wasn't a genuine denial, but he had to play the game. He was just like what's his name? Austin Whitsitt could have been like 2 + 2 is 4. And then the guy could have seen it and seen it on the calculator. He's like, "You sure it's not a 4? You sure it's a 4 and not an upside down H?" Like the dude would do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Totally disingenuous. You know what? I'm sitting here talking about it. Let me be about it. And then I'm gonna show you guys. You guys can see it yourself. And we'll kind of get into it. Here it is. So here's the debate between Harrison and Austin Whitsitt. Here it is.
Of the planetary motion from a stationary position, relational mechanics, Andreas Cease. And there are many other papers like that exist. So the ironic part is it actually works better. This is what I like. It works way better. You don't need dark matter. You don't need dark energy. You don't need expansion. You don't need all these made up pseudoscience fairy tales. Gravity's been disproven. Everyone knows relativity doesn't even work. We don't have something better.
What do you mean gravity's been proven? I mean, gravity
The
exists,
theory of
right?
relativity. The theory of relativity has been disproven, just like Newtonian gravity was disproven before that.
Right. So these are refinements of theories to explain natural phenomenon, but gravity exists, right? And it's different than electrostatic attraction. It's different than magnetic attraction. It's something else, right?
No, I wouldn't say well, okay, it's the effect of things falling to the earth, right? And it's little g, gravity. Of course it exists. We use it for engineering. We use it to determine weight. Of course it 100% exists. But why? What is it? Is there a force pulling everything down to the earth? Well, that's what the globe needs. The evidence for gravity is the way that it's been defined is that, well, the earth can't be a globe without it. But no, actually, density causes things to go up and down, and
Density.
electrostatics.
Wait.
And electrostatics.
Why does density cause things to go up and down?
Because of buoyancy. So the relative density of the object with the medium, the pressure mediation causes it to go up or down like a ping pong ball floats in water,
Right.
golf ball.
Because of gravity, because buoyancy is an
Okay, so Austin did an awesome job by saying yes, because of density and the relationship between a medium being dense and whatever the object is that's being forced up by that medium, will give you its buoyancy, right? So it's basically Archimedes. Some people pronounce it different ways, but his principle, it is a principle, right? So the differences between buoyancy and hold on, buoyancy and the differences between buoyancy and gravity is that One is a principle, the other one is a theory. But you can prove time and time again that buoyancy holds true. It's a principle, right? So any object buoyed up, and this is me as a Navy diver, this is something that I had to memorize, right? This is one of my gas, not just a gas law, but one of the things we had to memorize. And we had that gas law, we had Charles Gay-Lussac's law, we had Boyle's law, we had Dalton's law, we had all these different gas laws, right? That basically we needed to understand what gases do in a container, whether the container gets hot, whether the container drops in temperature, freaking goes inside of a different medium, i.e., dropping in depth, getting with water as its ambient medium, right? All those things, and we had to understand the relationship of the gas laws between whatever the gas was and the medium. So, yeah. So here's this dude, and he's acting, he's playing. It's like he's playing, and he doesn't understand. But I want to show you guys something. Let me stop that screen right there. Let me present to you this. I'll get back to that here in a second. Hold on, there it is. Right there. So it says Archimedes' principle states that the upward buoyant force that is exerted on a body partial or in body immersed in a fluid, whether partially or fluid or fully, that's how I remembered it, is partially immersed in a fluid or fully submerged, is equal to the weight of the fluid that the body displaces and acts in the upward direction at the center of the mass of the displaced fluid, right? Buoyancy. And you can replicate that over and over again, whether it's with a balloon, a basketball, but you can replicate and you can repeat that. Oh, fun fact, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you take a basketball and then you press it down to 33 feet of seawater, 33 feet FSW, the volume of the basketball will half itself. So you'll cut the volume of the basketball in half, dropping it down 33 feet in the water column. Bet you didn't know that. Isn't that absolutely bonkers? I think it is. Anyway, that's Archimedes' principle. So, like I said, the difference between principle and a theory, that right there, Archimedes' principle has always held true. Always held true. We're not changing that at all. So let's get back to that show. Let me stop showing that. Let me present with you. Back to Austin Whitsitt. Flat Earth debate. Share.
For it to go up or down, it would.
Wait. We gotta. Okay, so the principle of density, right? Long predates the idea of gravity, but eventually we did throw little g in there. Like I'm saying, little g isn't a problem for flat Earth at all. It's just the downward acceleration. Little g is not the cause; it's the effect. Everyone knows the effect exists. Things go down when they have weight. Gravity, gravitas means heavy. How heavy something is. Weight. We don't dispute that. We dispute the claimed cause of gravity, that the bending and warping of concepts called space and time somehow create illusions where everything shrinks and slows down and makes things fall to the earth in a straight path that's curving at the same time. That's just all pseudoscience. I actually did I want to plug the level documentary. I did a test there where we did actual science, and I used a Van de Graaff generator, which manipulates electrostatics, and I made the object change weight, fall at a different rate, go up and down just by manipulating the electric field. And that's what we have on the Earth. We have an electric field that has a 100 volt per meter increase. And when I flipped it with my Van de Graaff generator, it made the object float. So I proved that that's a cause of things falling down and why they fall down. And that's that every object that exists is electrostatic. So.
I mean, there's just so many things wrong with that. Obviously, it's not buoyancy. Buoyancy only exists because.
Yo, my man totally ignored what Austin Whitsitt had to say about that experiment. Right? The dude had no idea about it. He didn't understand it. He's just saying, no, that doesn't matter. So you see what I'm saying? This is how I know that the fix is in that Infowars, y'all. Like the fix, it's so obvious. That's why Austin, he's not even tripping. He sees it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he got to play that game. Exactly. He got to. Yeah. So he's got to play that game with them. So dude was trying to trip lightly with Austin, wanted to keep his job, and it seems, yeah. Like, so he had to be like, no, that's not it. I don't care what kind of experiment you ran. It's still, I still don't believe that it's flat. That's not good enough. You have to come up with a reason. You just can't say it's flat, it's a ball just because I said so. It is because I said so. That doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to this video.
Because of gravity, if you had a tank of water out in space where there's no noticeable gravitational force, then you could put a beach ball in the center of the water. It would stay in the center of water. There would be no up for it to float to. So buoyancy is an effect of the gravitational pull of the Earth. Gravity is obviously not electrostatic. You can counteract gravity with forces. Obviously, I can counteract gravity by picking this up. That doesn't mean gravity doesn't exist. You can't affect gravity itself with electrostatic or electromagnetism. You can't block gravity with a lead wall, right? Nothing blocks gravity. So, it's just obviously not electrostatic or magnetic or any other force that we can manipulate, because we can't manipulate gravity, except, they probably can with the Bell experiment and other, secret technology that they have, that we all know they have. We'll be back on the other side. One more long chunk of this debate, and we'll get into the PSYOP aspect.
He was playing on some shit. He's like, yo, come on, man, commercial break. Oh man, that dude deserves an Emmy award, or whatever it is they put for TV shows. The Academy Award, whatever it is. That's the reward he needs. You know what I'm saying? Because the cap on that was just hard. So Fly Me to the Moon proves that they lied, because they have to accurately depict NASA, aka truth, in plain sight. Yeah. And then they put a comedic spin on it. So Fly Me to the Moon, I made a video on it. I made a video on that BS that they made. That's right. Alex Jones came on and told his employees that the Earth is a ball. You saw that, right? You saw that. Let's get to that part. Yeah. Let's get to that part.
Are probably worth paying attention to. So that gave me a little bit of pause. But then again, just because something is censored doesn't mean it is therefore true. And we know things like QAnon are censored, but also entirely fraudulent. And to me, looking over the timeline, the growth of flat Earth does not seem remotely organic. If you search news archives by years, there's no mention of flat Earth at all, pretty much until 2013, until Obama, of all people, brings up the Flat Earth Society. And it seems like came out of nowhere. Nobody mentioned it before about 2013, and suddenly it's everywhere. It's the transgender movement.
That ain't true. Eric Dubé was talking about it before that. He don't know. So this dude, I guess, in his defense, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. But Eric Dubé was talking about the Flat Earth movement, or just Flat Earth, excuse me, not the Flat Earth movement or the Flat Earth Society. He was talking about the Flat Earth and what he recognized, right? And then he brought a lot of this stuff to our attention. It sparked everything that this guy's talking about.
Movement of conspiracy theories. Nobody had ever heard of it a decade ago, but all now, right, Harrison, about 25% of people make it their entire personality. So that's my feeling on flat Earth. The floor is yours, Austin.
Nice. So I'm just going to try to address some of the meta things you mentioned here, because that was a similar approach I wanted to take. We can get into the specifics in the open discussion. So like I said, I originally thought this must be a PSYOP, and it's used to discredit all the other conspiracy theories, right? But that actually is not the case. Actually on the back of Alex's book, right, or Tucker's book, it mentions Alex. It says, he's super censored. Why would you have to do that if he's just wrong? He must be onto something. They don't censor flat earthers. And as you accurately pointed out, they absolutely do. And I've been kicked off Venmo, PayPal, Airbnb. We're talking about cosmology. As to why it's not as censored, there's no cover story, right? So with everything else, it's hate speech, it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. It's dangerous medical misinformation that could hurt people. What can you say about flat Earth?
And you want to know something? Right there, Austin hits it nail on the head. Let me tell you something. 2 things you can't talk about without getting struck. 3 things. 3 things, right? The cocoa, you know what I'm talking about. The cocoa, a lot of people didn't want to take it, messed with us in 2019 and now. The cocoa. There's a group of people that you cannot talk about without getting seriously messed over. Right? Actually, there are a few people, but one in particular is not right, is not real. And they're out there in the Eastern Med. You know who I'm talking about. And the true and level Earth. Infony Wars. I like that. Mr. Jones, Infony Wars. I'm going to use that. Let me say what's up to these dudes right here. Let me say what's up to these dudes. All right. Alex Jones came on and told his employees, yep, he sure did. He sure did. When your boss says that's the way it is, you don't question it. That's right. Flat Works. What's going on, brother? Haven't seen you before, but welcome, welcome, welcome. That wasn't even a debate. It was just a bunch of nuh-uhs and exactly. Exactly. You know what? You can't call that a debate. I mean, I guess for all intents and purposes, we're just going to call it a debate because that's what they want to call it. But really, it wasn't a debate. It wasn't. And it was like, I at first I was frustrated, but then I realized this dude needs to eat. He's probably got a family and he's got to keep his job. So I'm not going to hate on him. He disagreed with Austin. He ran. Austin was chasing him, trying to swing on him, and the dude ran around the ring. He did a good job staying alive for 12 rounds. He did a phenomenal job staying alive for 12 rounds. He did a great job. I give him that. That wasn't even a debate. Nuh-uhs, but the science from Harrison Smith. And Alex Jones' little appearance. What a joke. Exactly. Because Alex Jones even made an appearance. Yo, y'all gonna have to tell y'all find that. Tell me where Alex Jones comes in and says what he says, please. Somebody go in there, tell me where Alex Jones, because I'm looking for it. You know what I'm saying? Alex Jones does jump in and he says his little remark, and I'm laughing like, oh, brother, like this dude can't be serious. We're gonna kind of jump. We're gonna jump there.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're skipping the next commercial break, so we got a solid 25 minutes to do open discussion with myself and Austin Whitsitt. Again, you can follow Austin at Whitsitt Gets It on Twitter and whitsittgetsit.com. I lost my paper that says it, but that's right? Well, yeah, at Whitsitt Gets It. Okay. So yeah, open discussion time. Obviously, we both brought a bunch of stuff in our opening statements. I guess to me, again, every debate I've watched from Flat Earth sort of has the same paradigm, the same dynamic. It's somebody like yourself that's arguing for Flat Earth, and then there's like the Bill Nye the Science guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson wannabe. And frankly, I don't really care about the scientific arguments as much.
You see, and that's where you lose me. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go there. Let me go there. I'll get back to this point, but that there is where you lose me when you say I don't care about the science. Let me go to 113. We're gonna skip to 113.
Especially with InfoWars, there's a huge crossover, right? They just want to see the position accurately represented on kind of the big stage, if you were. So I think that's probably more what it is. I think a bunch of people think I'll accurately.
No, it was an hour 13. I apologize.
And stuff, and we've replicated a flat surface. You put enough of an atmospheric temperature fluctuations and stuff. It'll start to warp it, compress it, make it look like it's curving. Also based on your angle. And in this picture, I'm pretty sure they actually compressed it. So you can take a picture. It's so deceptive.
All right.
You can take a picture of a desk.
Hold on,
flat.
Hold on, Austin. We have a guest appearance here.
Alex
Jones has made his appearance at the Flat Earth debate.
Listen, I'm only going to ask you a real quick question. Are the sun and other planets flat as well? Because I've been a big astronomer since I was a kid with my dad. When we had professional telescopes when I was a kid. Now anybody can get them that have the computerized controls. I've sat there overnight drinking a 12-pack of beer in college with a 35 millimeter camera hooked to a 12-inch refractor telescope and taken photos of Saturn and Jupiter and watched it as it's turning, watched the globes turning. I put green lenses on, the telescope and could watch the sun and over, an hour see it turn and see, see coronal mass ejections moving in the time lapse. Boom, it's round, done.
Debate over, Austin. I'm sorry to tell you, you have now lost the debate, and the Earth is.
You know what? You can tell Austin's laughing. Austin's laughing. Exactly. 12-pack of beer and a telescope. So Austin's sitting there over there laughing because he's like, bro, listen. But Austin is sitting there laughing because he's like, listen, you know what? You got your hustle. I get it. I can't knock it. It is what it is. I get it. Okay, I get it. I'm not going to knock your hustle. And you know what? It is what it is. I'm not going to hate on Alex Jones. Alex Jones, whether you like him or disagree with him, right? Or you think he's mad, pompous, headstrong, whatever. Alex Jones brought something different to media. And Alex Jones did a lot that a lot of people were afraid to do in the realm of fringe news, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? So he's like the living Nancy Drew, so to speak. And he's done a lot. So for that, I gotta give myself a round of applause to Alex Jones. I gotta give him a round of applause, man. Because a lot of people didn't like him, and he took on a lot of conspiracy stuff that a lot of people were afraid to touch, man. I mean, it eventually got him burnt, but I respect it, man. Because even us, you have to think about it. You have to look at it like this, y'all. Many of us don't even have media platform like that. Me, I just have a media platform because, I was goaded and kind of persuaded into doing it. And I figured I wanted to get some stuff off my chest and have a small audience that listens. And I thank you guys for that, right? But if you see the stuff that he's kind of gone through, you could understand and you can appreciate his craft. And yes, no, I feel you, man. Yeah, he should have tried it sober, but you can't. You got to respect it because that's hard. But it's easy for us to say in our predicament, we're not in the position, we're not in his situation, so we don't know what they told him. They could listen. He's got a power. You have to remember, he's not like me and you, right? He's got a powerful voice, and he's got probably 1 billion people that watch and listen to him. Whether they believe him or not, they watch and they listen to him. So if you were to say something about a Pizzagate, which that was another thing you couldn't talk about, right? Pizzagate, the Coco, the J, and it's got a W somewhere in there, and it ends with the S. Talk about them, stuff like that. The True and Level Earth, like he's done it all. He's talked about these things. He went as far as to talk about the kids that got harmed. You know what I'm saying? You know where? In Randy Brook. That's where, right? So a lot of people weren't willing to take on a lot of those crazy stories, except for Alex Jones. Hell, he interviewed Louis Farrakhan. And one of the only white folks to do that really was like Phil Donahue, damn Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes. So Alex Jones was willing to do all that stuff that a lot of people wasn't willing to do, man. So I gotta give him props, man. Let's get back to the debate.
Is around. What's your response to what Alex just brought up there?
Hilarious.
Yeah, the sun could be round, and it doesn't mean that the Earth is, right? So it's and also, by the way, the Earth can be round and flat. Of course, it could be a plane shape, it could be a plane circle, but yeah, I mean, I agree that they look like they could be spheres. They certainly look like discs in the sky. They have cycles, but they all move around the Earth. The Earth's in the center, right? It is illogical to look at the ceiling and be like, well, that's what the Earth is.
Right, but
so that's
again, you can plot the paths of the planet from the Earth, and you can predict them and everything, but it makes so much more sense when you take the sun as the center. Everything's in a perfect little circle. Everything's concentric. It makes a hell of a lot more sense than trying to plot things from a geocentric, which, I mean, how do you explain the way that the planets move in and then away from us and then towards us and away from us? I mean, you can say torus field, but frankly, that's just not a good enough explanation.
Okay. So with this guy and how he's speaking, obviously he hadn't done his due diligence. Either that or he's really playing stupid, and I gotta give him his props, man. He's doing a good freaking job. He's doing a really good job playing stupid. So yeah. So let's kind of talk about that. Why is flat Earth a topic a lot of people are afraid of? Well, Mr. Jones, you know, that's for some that have been looking at this topic of the flat Earth and the true Earth for a little while. You could think that it's a rhetorical question, or for those of us that truly don't know and are still trying to find the answer, they truly don't know. Me, I'm somewhere in between, right? Depending on who's asking that question, I might find it to be a rhetorical one. So I think the reason they don't want this thing to get out, it's because people are going to run to the Bible. Because they're going to look for the next source. What's another source I can learn more about this true flat Earth? Because say the government came out one day and said the Earth is flat. We've been lying to you guys. And then people are going to yell the scriptures, the Bible, all these ancient texts. Second, the prices of the Bible are going to shoot through the roof. If you can't find one already, the prices of a Bible, especially if you go to, I'm sitting here talking about it. Let me show you. Right? The prices of a Bible will shoot through. It's just like anything else, right? People are going to make money off of it, but you got to think people are going to pay dearly, right? A lot of these institutions may lose a lot of funding in some places, right? And actually, many of the institutions in general might lose credit, may lose a lot of credibility, because you got to think about how hard a lot of these institutions pushed the globe. Think about that. Like, people will not send it. They'll be like, do not go there. They lied to you about that. What else could they have lied to you about? Which is basically everything. Because the globe is the foundation. Like, that's the linchpin for everything. If they cancel and they kibosh the globe Earth and they say the Earth is flat, they might as well just drop a bomb on everybody and restart this whole everything that we know. They might as well just restart, because everything will lose credibility. Nobody will trust it. Nobody will listen to the government. If a cop tries to pull you over, you're just going to keep driving. A lot of people will. They'll be like, what the hell what are you going to try to arrest me for? It's flat. Like, they've been lying to us the whole time. You're probably lying to me about speeding. You know what I'm saying? So everything will be all jacked up. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. So, okay, I wanted to show you guys this before I get back to Austin Whitsitt. Let me stop that screen. Let me show you this one. So I go to eBay and I look for old Bibles, right? And I try to see where I could get one. 1759 Holy Bible, New Testament, German, leather bound. That's not even the Old Testament, right? Because a lot of us might want to look in the old part of the scriptures. But $500. $500 for the Old Testament. Now let's look for a New Testament. This is from the 1700s. Holy Bible, Northampton Antique Mini Bible. $40. $18.29 Antique Holy Bible, plus the Apocrypha, right? So that's probably like a Catholic Bible. That's what a lot of people would call a Catholic Bible, but for $71. But you could just see these Bibles, and it's like, it's hard to find a Bible, an English Bible, made in the 1700s, right? It's difficult to find a Bible that's got English in it made in the 1700s. If you know how to speak German, like they have a lot of Bibles that are written in German in the 1700s that are available, but I don't speak German, right? And there are a lot of people around this world that don't speak German other than Germans and Austrians, right? So I could see why that price in American dollars wouldn't be as much money. All right, let's get out of that. Let's go back to Austin Whitsitt and then. So yeah, the Bibles, if you think about it, like these things would be like they would lose so much credibility. Yeah, and Mr. Jones says because billions of dollars, cancel that. Because billions of dollars are on the line for NASA, the truth is revealed. That's another thing. Yes, that's right, Mr. Jones. Harris is so lost in space sauce. That's true, Mrs. Jones, because it's real. Yeah, it's the real deal. And so a lot of people are going to reevaluate their lives too. Like there's going to be it would be a total paradigm shift. You know what I'm saying? If we learn that the earth is truly flat, which we know it is, but the rest of society, the rest of the world, right? The other societies out there that don't know that this earth is truly a flat level of plane. Because the idea of space and the globe is most people's safety blanket, yes. And they don't want everything they don't want their entire worldview taken out from underneath them. Exactly, I agree. Questioning science is how you do science, exactly. The real science, right? I'm trying to get my hands on some old Encyclopedia Britannicas from between the 30s and the 40s, yes. So, what you could do, there is an encyclopedia set that was big back during those times called Funk and Wagnalls. Funk ampersand sign and Wagnalls, right? Wagnalls. Funk and Wagnalls. So if you look at the Funk and Wagnalls encyclopedia set, they'll be from like the 1800s as well. 1800s into the 1900s. So you could find them. They're available. Hold on. Let's get back to the debate between Austin Whitsitt and old dude. Because it's like you said, man, that is not a debate. It's just old dude saying, no, that's not so. That's not how it works.
So there's a book by a PhD professor that is called Relational Mechanics. He breaks all this down. The specific force, Lorentz magnetic force, shows the dynamic equivalence of the planetary motion from a stationary position. Relational Mechanics, Andreas Suess. And there are many other papers like that exist. So the ironic part is it actually works better. This is what I like. It works way better. You don't need dark matter. You don't need dark energy. You don't need expansion. You don't need all these made up pseudoscience fairy tales. Gravity's been disproven. Everyone knows relativity doesn't even work. We don't have something better.
What do you mean? What do you mean gravity's been disproven? I mean, gravity exists.
The theory of
right?
relativity. The theory of relativity has been disproven, just like Newtonian gravity was disproven before that.
Right. So these are refinements of theories to explain natural phenomenon, but gravity exists, right? And it's different than electrostatic attraction. It's different than magnetic attraction. It's something else, right?
No, I wouldn't say it's. It's the effect of things falling to the earth, right? And it's little g, gravity. Of course, it exists. We use it for engineering. We use it to determine weight. Of course, it 100% exists. But why? What is it? Is there a force pulling everything down to the earth? Well, that's what the globe needs. The evidence for gravity is the way that it's been defined is that, well, the earth can't be a globe without it. But no, actually, density causes things to go up and down, and electrostatics.
Why does density cause things to go up and down?
Because of buoyancy. So the relative density of the object with the medium, the pressure mediation causes it to go up or down like a ping pong ball floats in water, golf ball.
Because of gravity, because buoyancy is an effect of gravity, because without gravity, there'd be no reason for it to go up or down. It would.
Wait. We got to. Okay, so the principle of density, right? Mm-hmm. Long predates the idea of gravity, but eventually we did throw little g in there. like I'm saying, little g isn't a problem for or for flat Earth at all. It's just the downward acceleration. Little g is not the cause; it's the effect. Everyone knows the effect exists. Things go down when they have weight. Gravity, gravitas means heavy. How heavy something is. Weight. We don't dispute that. We dispute the claimed cause of gravity, that the bending and warping of concepts called space and time somehow create illusions where everything shrinks and slows down and makes things fall to the earth in a straight path that's curving at the same time. That's just all pseudoscience. I actually did I want to plug the level documentary. I did a test there where we did actual science, and I used a Van de Graaff generator, which manipulates electrostatics, and I made the object change weight, fall at a different rate, go up and down just by manipulating the electric field. And that's what we have on the Earth. We have an electric field that has a 100 volt per meter increase. And when I flipped it with my Van de Graaff generator, it made the object float. So I proved that that's a cause of things falling down and why they fall down. And that's that every object that exists is electrostatic. So
I mean, there's just so many things wrong with that. Obviously, it's not buoyancy. Buoyancy only exists because
yo, that's what he do. That's what he do. He's just like, oh yeah, there's just a lot wrong with that. Anyway, next topic. Yo, if you look at Austin Whitsitt, man, the dude don't even get mad. He's just like,
because of gravity. If you had a tank of water out in space where there's no noticeable gravitational force, then you could put a beach ball in the center of the water. It would stay in the center of water. There would be no up for it to float to. So buoyancy is an effect of the gravitational pull of the Earth. Gravity is obviously not electrostatic. You can counteract gravity with forces. Obviously, I can counteract gravity by picking this up. That doesn't mean gravity doesn't exist. You can't affect gravity itself with electrostatic or electromagnetism. You can't block gravity with a lead wall, right? Nothing blocks gravity. So, it's just obviously not electrostatic or magnetic or any other force that we can manipulate, because we can't manipulate gravity, except, they probably can with the Bell experiment and other, secret technology that they have, that we all know they have. We'll be back on the other side.
Yo, my man ran out the clock. Yo, my man, he took the ball and when in basketball, they just held on to that joker, ran out the clock. Hockey, he took it. Instead of icing, my man skating on his side of the rink, ran out the clock. He just ran out. If you look at him, you see how the music came on? He just ran out the clock. That's all he did. And what we got here? Harrison really could not grasp the idea of electrostatics. I think he could, but he had to. Here's the thing. Looking at this debate, because I was getting upset with him at first, but if he gave Austin an inch, that would spell doom for the InfoWars show. You guys have to remember that Alex Jones gave those. He said, if you speak about flat Earth, you're fired. You're fired. Alex Jones does not want to lose his show. So if that guy is to give Austin Whitsitt an inch, because here's the thing. We know. Listen, guys. Listen, we get it. You know what I'm saying? If we go out here and say, listen, 8 inches per mile square, the Earth is freaking 25,000 miles in circumference. 8 inches per mile squared proves that it doesn't meet that criteria. It does not. We've run the experiments. FE Core, Conspiracy Theory 3, Flat Out Truth, Terry Eicher. Everybody's done, freaking David Weiss and them. Everybody's done, Bob Nodell. Everybody's done the experiments. That French dude that got up on top of the mountains and saw the mountains like 700 miles away in the Eastern Med, looking towards Cyprus and them. Everybody's done, and then you could do the calculation. We've all done if not all of us, periscopes on the water. We've all done the experiments. We can show him this. If he were to give Austin Whitsitt just an inch, just a hair's width of, you might be right, he'd have lost his job. Nope. Everything Austin says is wrong. That's all he knows. He's like, that doesn't make any sense, Austin. That's all he's going to say. Austin, whatever you say is wrong. That's all he's going to say. It don't matter. because my man needs to have, he needs to take care of his family. And Alex Jones, if you saw Alex Jones on an hour and 13 minutes, he came out. Let's go back, okay? We're gonna go back and look at Alex Jones's face real quick. Let's go back and look at his face. You know what I'm saying? Where are we at? 119. Let's go back to right here. Let's go back to right there and let's talk about
4,000 miles. It's a 100-mile radius globe, right? It's way too drastic a rate of curvature over that distance. In addition, it's a foreshortening effect based on optics in the Atmos, which that place notoriously has pretty crazy atmospheric conditions and pollution and stuff.
Right.
And we've replicated a flat surface. You put enough of an atmospheric temperature fluctuation and stuff, it'll start to warp it, compress it, make it look like it's curving, also based on your angle. And in this picture, I'm pretty sure they actually compressed it. So you can take a picture. It's so deceptive.
All right.
You can take a picture of a desk.
Hold on,
flat.
hold on, Austin. We have a guest
Look at
appearance here.
Look at his face. You already know that dude's up to no good. Look at his face. Alex Jones know what it is. He's like, yo, Austin, man, yo, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm keeping my show. Austin. It don't matter how right you are. Look at Alex. Alex, look at him.
Here, Alex Jones has made his appearance at the Flat Earth debate.
Listen, I'm only going to ask you a real quick question. Are the sun and other planets flat as well?
Alex knows what it is, man. Alex, you being so disingenuous, bro. Alex knows what it is. Look at his face.
Because I've been a big astronomer since I was a kid with my dad. When we had professional telescopes when I was a kid. Now anybody can get them that have the computerized controls. I've sat there overnight drinking a 12-pack of beer in college with a 35mm camera hooked to a 12-inch refractor telescope. Taking photos of
gravity. So I mean, it's just obviously not electrostatic or magnetic or any other force that we can manipulate, because we can't manipulate gravity, except, they probably can with the Bell experiment and other, secret technology that they have, that we all know they have. We'll be back on the other side. One more long chunk of this debate, and we'll get into the PSYOP aspect.
So let's look at that. Comparing these two forces is clearly the charge in electrostatics plays a similar role to that of the mass and gravity. Absolutely. But you can easily make whatever's being charged, right? Whether you're removing electrons or adding electrons, you're changing its weight. You're changing its composition, right? In respect to its environment. I guess if you can raise an object and then you can make it heavier. Like we look at the periodic table, as we go from left to right, the elements tend to get heavier until they're so heavy they become like radioactive, right? It seems as if the more electrons that an element has, the heavier it gets. So the closer you get to the bottom, because it's got more electrons and all that, right? It just gets heavier. It's got more stuff in it. I don't know. I'm just trying to be simple over here. So help me out. It's got more stuff in it. So the elements with more stuff gets heavier. That's a very simple way of doing it. Don't think of it solely like that. But Austin is like, yo, we can change the polarity of these objects and make them do something different. Something different being something totally different. It gliding, right? Or it levitating. Not sitting there being stuck to the ground or stuck to the table. Alex asked the question and not stay for the answer. Yeah, Alex is like, nah, you ain't losing. I ain't losing my show. Yep. These two forces. Yep. Said that. But it is always calm and composed. I definitely couldn't have that kind of patience and tolerance. He knows he's right, though. At the end of the day, Austin Whitsitt knows he's right, and you can tell. He's got the confidence, and he's just like, everybody knows the truth. We know the truth, and really, the truth, like the Bible says, man, the truth is out there like a lion. It defends itself, right? So once you put the truth out there, it's got its own legs. Let it do what it do, right? Let it do what it do. Let the people see for themselves.
Conspiracy that would be necessary to contain this lie if the round Earth is in fact a lie. But let's talk about sort of one of the other claims of the Earth's atmosphere existing next to a vacuum. Again, this seems on first blush, it's like, oh, yay, wait, why does that happen? How is that the case? We've got an atmosphere here. We've got a vacuum in space. What is it that stops the atmosphere from going into the vacuum of space? But we get that pressure goes down as we travel up in altitude, right? We get that the atmosphere gets thinner as it goes up. I mean, I don't think you dispute that. So, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. I know, you say that to have air pressure, you have to have a container. But are there containers that are pressurized where there's a gradient? Because there's a gradient in our atmosphere that pretty well explains how the atmosphere sticks to Earth. It's gravity. It doesn't require a container. It requires a force. In this case, that force is gravity.
Yeah, sure. So you can have a gradient, of course, but you need gas pressure to have a gradient. So it's delta X, change in X. So you need X, you need the gas pressure. And what we're saying is the antecedent, the requirement for gas pressure is containment. You can absolutely replicate a pressure gradient in a container. You cannot replicate one without a container. And we see that the dispersal of gas is omnidirectional. It goes directly up. In the face of this alleged force that's not a force that's pulling everything down. Supposedly gravity is holding air, gas, next to a vacuum, but gas disperses in all directions instantly.
Yep.
So yes, we do have a pressure gradient on the Earth, but the requirement for that is an actual contained system that the gas can then begin to attempt to equalize within and give you a gradient. Just like if you have liquid propane or any type of gas, not liquid, but any type of gas in a container, there's going to be a gradient. There's going to be more gas at the bottom
because of gravity.
But it's not, but it's in a container. So as soon as I remove the container, right, it's going to disperse. Obviously, that's why sodas make the little sound, right? Because the pressure is equalizing to the pressure around it. So that's our point, is that you can say gravity, but where gravity is supposedly the strongest at the surface of the Earth, gas goes in all directions, including directly up, and it goes directly into a vacuum. Gravity's not holding it down there. But supposedly where gravity is weaker, next to a 10 to the negative 17 torr vacuum, somehow it just sits there and it doesn't go and fill the available space, which is antithetical to,
well, it's just a countervailing force. I mean, if you have a molecule of air that floats up to the top of the atmosphere and then floats out of the atmosphere, and now it's not surrounded by anything, it's all, for all intents and purposes, in a vacuum, it's still being affected by the gravity to Earth, and it'll drift back to Earth. I mean, what is the force?
I don't think this guy took things like helium, a helium molecule or a hydrogen molecule. Once it goes up and it escapes, it's gone. It's not coming back down here. Like helium and hydrogen, they totally oppose those laws by themselves, obviously. Right? They totally oppose those laws of gravity. Let's continue.
That's pulling it away from the other air molecules in a vacuum. I mean, again, this really doesn't seem that all that complicated to me. I mean, the gravity pulls the air down. The air, close to the surface of the planet is thicker because that's where gravity's pulling everything. But air is light enough to float because of buoyancy or density. It doesn't all fall straight down to the Earth. This is just an effect.
No, but also, like, you got to remember, guys, right? Gases like nitrogen and oxygen. This is what makes up most of our breathable air, right? Hell yeah, that stuff is coming. It's heavy. They're heavier gases still, right? If you go from left to right on a periodic table, what are your first two gases? Hydrogen, helium, right? Then you go from left to right, continue on. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. They get heavier and heavier. They start changing composition and shit, right? They start becoming metals and stuff on the left. And a lot of gases and stuff start to step off and be to the right. But still, right? It's crazy because those heavier elements, the heavier stuff, even the trace gases that we breathe, they're on the right side. You're not going to see, the heliums and stuff. We're not going to breathe that unless we want to trick our voice. You know what I'm saying? So all your light stuff is on the left side. The beginning, the stuff that'll float away, like freebie, float away and be gone. What's he talking about?
Of gravity. Again, you don't need a container to explain this. You just need a force that is working on the molecules to keep them attached to Earth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
again, I don't get how this is a container is not necessary.
All right, let's go to the comments. A container is not necessary. Jesus, man. Yeah, it's always coming. Yeah, this is controlled opposition. Like, I don't understand. Alex Jones asks a question and don't wait for an answer. Yeah. What's weird though is when Alex Jones has Eddie Bravo, Data Weiss, and Sam Tripoli and Sean Hibbler on his show, it seems like after a while he started to side. He was. No, he did. Flatworks. He did side with them. He did side with them. But then somebody got a hold of him. And somebody talked about that. Freely spoke about it. They said they got a hold of Alex Jones, and Alex Jones went back to his team and he was like, don't ever talk about Flatworks again. If you do, you're fired. A lie doesn't become true just because the majority believes it. It don't. Yeah. And it just makes you almost either pity the majority or you absolutely hate the majority because they're so fooled and tricked and easily tricked. They become NPCs. On the topic of going to Antarctica, and then made some pro flat Earth comments on Joe Rogan at one point, but now he makes his anti-flat back and forth on the topic. Yeah, but it's kind of like Joe Rogan saying the moon landing was fake, and then now he's all on the side of the moon landing being real. Plus, you got to see that he's on Spotify and all. He's doing all this different stuff, so he's making his money, and he's like, "I'll just lie. I'll just keep lying." Go says Witsit destroys it. Yeah, Witsit he did, but Witsit was calm about it, man. Witsit was easy. This dude. All he could come up was I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. It's just not true. It's not true because it's not true. That's it. That's what I said. Common sense is no longer. It ain't. Austin is giving them the easiest freaking volleyball, softball examples, and the dude just dying. Water is a leveling tool in a ball. There's no level, no debunk. Exactly. Mr. Jones in Star Wars, the Force is gravity. Yeah. Let's go back to the show.
Like I said, though, like we're claiming a force is pulling the gas down to Earth, but gas goes in all directions, including directly up and violently. It's the second law of thermodynamics. To quote Arthur Eddington, any idea or theory you have that's contrary to the second law is just completely, inexcusable and dead on its face. But you're saying that the gravity is basically pulling the air back down in the face of a vacuum. But where does the gravity of Earth stop affecting gas? Then, right? Because the gravity of the Earth doesn't extend the entire universe. And so the air is still going to fill the available space, and it fills the available space on the surface where gravity would be the strongest. So, very simply, it's very easy to replicate what we have on the Earth. With a container, you can create a gradient, certainly with all the gas that's being introduced at the surface level and the gas cycle and the temperature and the density differences. But you cannot replicate it without a container. So that's the argument. And gravity, again, has actually been disproven. And we've proven our understanding of gravity, which is that it's electric. We've actually proven it with experiments. So
but
that would be like
so you can affect gravity with electricity.
What people call gravity, which is the effect of things falling down, right?
You can affect things with gravity with electricity. It's like, dude, wake your ass up. He said he did it with a Van de Graaff generator. Wake your ass up. Are you not listening? Oh my God. Wake up, dude. Yes, he's been saying that. I don't know how Witsit does it. Good call, Flatworks and them. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he maintains patience. I'd be like, motherfucker, wake up, listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can take electrostatics and I can make things go up. And actually, when you brought up the bell, that's what they did. They actually used what they call ether physics. I have a really good book on it. It's called The Bell, and they used electrogravitic propulsion. So of course, the Nazis back in like as early as 20s and 30s, they had these UFOs. They were using the electric nature of the environment to make things quote unquote levitate and defy material physics. They weren't using an anti-gravity device that bit space and time. It was electrogravitic propulsion. They actually they called Einstein's theory mysticism. and they applied what they called ether physics. That's been hidden and suppressed. They went in and grabbed all of Tesla's work, and now they say that Einstein is correct. And of course, we have no technology. All the technology the military is using for these devices, I guarantee you, is electric. Because, like I said, in science, you have a naturally occurring observable phenomena, dependent variable. You try to figure out what causes it. So things fall down. What causes it? Well, let's say it's electrostatics. Let's test it. We're going to manipulate that. I did that, and I can make the object go up and float. I can make it fall down faster. And on the Earth, we have an electric field, and everything that exists is electrostatic. Everything's electric. Right. So it would be insane to think that it doesn't have something to do with everything being electric, because that's 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity's even claimed to be on the smallest scale. So it's one of the biggest systems.
Right, but that doesn't disprove gravity. Again, electric currents have or electric they have properties that gravity doesn't have. So it just can't be the same thing, and you can't block it. You can't really affect it. I mean, there may be hidden technology like that.
No, Austin, no. I don't give a fuck how right you think you are. No, that's not how it works, man. Yep, that back to reality. There's no gravity, exactly. That works. I think Winston knew that this guy was making the globe side look bad, and just let him dig his own. That's right. Let him dig his own hole and contradict his own model on his own. This is why McToon was sending Harrison emails to not debate. Wow. Wait, Flatworks, you mean to not debate Austin Whitsitt, or just not debate in general? It makes gravity irrelevant. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether it's this guy debating Austin Whitsitt or McToon debating Austin Whitsitt. Here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. You could be the best debater. Like, it could be as if we took this to the court of law where the globe was guilty, right? You could be the best debater, and you can make your client innocent, right? Your client, in this case, say you made the globe innocent. They made their client innocent. But the reality is the globe is guilty. The globe is not real. It is wrong. It is guilty. It is false, right? But you could find a way to drum up people's emotions and everything else, and then you could craft it to where it appears as if you won the debate. But it doesn't change reality. This is why, I'm like, debates to me are like, I'm like, not really, because you can be a shitty debater, right? Somebody could debate you and say, hey, you don't have any hair. Meanwhile, you're covered with hair from head to toe and look like an Ewok or Chewbacca, right? And then you're like, I do have hair. But they could somehow find a way to convince the people around that you don't have hair. If they're that good a debater, if they're that good with crafty words. And yes, the globe was designed by the father of lies, and the father of lies is a lot smarter and wiser than the majority of people walking this planet right now. Glover's only argument, gravity. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they say science. They always say science, but I'm like, do you know science requires certain steps, which many of we've taken already. We've taken these steps, these same exact steps. A lot of us had to go out in the cold. A lot of us had to be in places we didn't want to be, but we did it anyway, right? And then you come out with the treasure of the result, and then you're like, there it is. I got to see it and do it for myself. It's different when you do these experiments for yourself and you get your own results, right? You can speak about these things intimately, and then it adds perspective. It's not just you hearing it from somebody else and doing it, right? You can speak about it, you can talk about it in great detail, and then you have a leg up on somebody else by saying, you know what, you never did it. I did it. So I could show you. And I filmed it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. But these guys, they have to rely on Foucault's pendulum, which has been proven to be false. A boat going over the horizon, which has been proven to be false. The moon and the stars doing their thing, which they don't freaking revolve, right? The moon definitely doesn't revolve, right? We've never seen which if the moon is facing the sun and then we see the moon, then it shouldn't be the dark side of the moon, but it should be the light side of the moon, right? That's what I'm thinking. That's what sounds right to me. Whatever. But nobody's ever seen that side of the moon before. And so, with all these fallacies that are stacked up in the globe corner, it's basically magic. It's magic and sorcery that these people of the globe still believe that this earth is a globe. It's just plain old magic and sorcery. And in this case, with this guy debating Austin Whitsitt, he's just saying, no, not going to work, not with me. I'm keeping my job. Nano CBD. Hey, look at who it is. This guy they call Nano CBD. Good to see you, brother. There was relevant people sending him emails to back the Whitsitt debate in fear of making their globe side look incompetent. Well, it's not just that. It's wild because my thing is I feel y'all, but it doesn't. They could have the best. They could have Perry Mason out there debating the globe for the globe, right? It doesn't change the fact that it's flat. It's flat. These guys will not go out and do the experiments. Whitsitt didn't raise his voice or get upset, but Harrison Smith had to interrupt and disregard evidence during it. Alex Jones was like, yo, I'm keeping this dude. He's just going, whatever. He's like, just keep saying no, bro. Just no, I don't care. Hey, I'm wearing a white shirt. No, you're not. It's purple. It's white. Nope, I don't care. Nope, it is purple. You look like Grimace right now, and you got black hair, not red. That's it. It is what it is. No, yeah. Harrison Smith came out. He came out the box swinging. It's a globe. Like he came out automatic. I don't believe it's flat.
The Bell that are able to manipulate gravity, but they're not doing it in a way that is easily replicable, I don't think. And yeah, again, you can counteract the force of gravity, but I don't think you can actually manipulate it. I think that might be an illusion of what's happening there. But all of this to the side, all of the perception versus reality, or what we can see and what explains it, the conspiracy necessary to keep this lie going. If round earth was a lie, it is so impossibly vast. I mean, it just makes no sense. There's no payoff for it other than maybe moderately affecting people's willingness to believe, which again, it's like, the idea that we're in a firmament or that we're the center of the earth. I mean, nothing in God's creation proves God. That's sort of like one of the aspects of it, right? There are lots of things that could prove God that would be miraculous, that you could go, oh my, there's nothing other than God that explains this. Yeah, the earth being at the center of the universe would be one of those things, but it's not, because it's not, right? It's not at the center of the earth, so it doesn't prove that. But nothing in creation proves that. So this idea that, I guess it's almost like contradictory, where like, yeah, if we were in a giant celestial hamster cage with the firmament over us, it would prove that God exists, but also in a weird way, that's not what God does. So it would prove that something other than God exists. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then you've got like just tens of thousands of people working on space programs. Let me give
and here's another thing, y'all, that I noticed is that Austin Whitsitt has had like some good debates with other good debaters, right? This guy isn't really debating. He's just giving an opinion. A lot of it, he's just like, I don't think, and yeah, Mr. Jones, you brought up a really good idea, right? Or you brought up a really good, Nano CBD, I'm sorry, you brought up a really good point. The lots of I don't think arguments, and there is no debate. But facts don't give a damn what you think. Facts are facts, right? Just the facts, ma'am, like they used to say on the show Dragnet. So he can't provide any evidence. Unfortunately, this guy came totally unprepared with his pants down, right? And so Austin did the right thing. He didn't pounce on him and tear him to pieces like a lion on a piece of meat. And he just let him just dig himself into a hole. And the dude was not at all debating. But at the same time, with him running around the ring and running the clock out as effectively as he did, he saved InfoWars. And Alex Jones probably went out, took him out, got him liquored up, got him a steak dinner and made him a happy man that night. You know what I'm saying? Check page 1 of the Bible, buddy. Yep, exactly. Genesis 1, 6 to 7. Yep. Let God's words be true, every man a liar. That's right. Amazing how much atheists claim to know about the Bible they've never opened. Yeah, they don't. And you know what their argument is? It's my favorite. Well, men wrote it. And then I'm like, every science book that you read, I've never seen a dog print anything. Men wrote everything that you've read. I haven't seen an elephants write anything, an antelope or nothing like that write a newspaper or read one even.
Give an example. I have a friend about 10 years ago. He was working for a company that built the titanium aluminum rings that connected satellites to the vessel that took them into space. So you've got a small company with about 4 or 5, Ivy League doctorate engineers that are working on building these rings to attach the satellite to the rocket. And that's just one company of like thousands that exist out there. Are they in on it? Are they being fooled? Do you have another company that's coming up with the false information to feed to them to make them think that when they go to watch the satellite launch, are they just watching the thing they built fly into the sea, and then somebody else is launching a balloon that just looks like a satellite? I mean, explain some of this to me, because the conspiracy necessary to carry this out is so vast. It's just nonsensical.
I find it funny for Harrison Smith to be saying that, yet he works on the damn CNBC, damn Fox 5 of conspiracy channels, right? Infowars is like bigger than Coast to Coast AM. It's bigger than Red Ice Radio. It's Infowars. If anybody's heard any conspiracy radio or any conspiracy channel, it's Infowars. So yes, the lies run that deep. The conspiracy does run that deep. And a lot of time, all you have to do is convince enough people. That's all you need. The lie will do the rest. As long as you can convince. For example, we have a group of people claiming they're somebody when they're clearly not, right? We know who they are. Starts with a J, ends with a W, unfortunately, right? And it's the truth is now coming out. But the thing is before the truth started coming out, and now the truth of them not being who they are, it's coming out. How many of us were fooled the whole time thinking that they truly were? I'll raise my hand. I'll be the first to say I thought they truly were who they claimed they were. I thought they were those people. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, I knew it the whole time. No, I didn't know it the whole time. I thought they were who they said they were. But now it turns out they lied to us. They've been lying to us. But here's the thing. Many of them didn't know. They only believed what they were told. They didn't know that they weren't the people of the scriptures. They just regurgitated what they were told, and they just went along with it. But now with DNA evidence, which is totally illegal in that country, has come out, and it's starting to show that many of us in the more melanated skins, we knew that they were not, right? Me, I just learned about this, right? I just learned about this like 10 years ago or something like that. And I started looking more into it. And of course, Kanye and Kyrie kind of burst it wide open and everything. But as far as those guys like the Hebrew Israelites and stuff, they've been in Brooklyn. They've been in New York City since the 70s, right? And they've been preaching the word for a long, long time, right? Saying that those people that say they are, they're not them. They're lying. So I'm saying all that to say we were lied. This is one of the more recent ones where black, white, green, all of us, we were all lied to by those folks. So yeah, it's possible to lie to people like that. And it's happening real time still. And we're none the wiser until we know. So like I say again, you don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know. Can't help that.
Yeah, so it would be like I said, to use the adoption analogy, it'd be like, is everyone in the church and your school and your community in on the lie? Like, no, they believe the lie. Satellites aren't a problem for flat Earth. I know that many flat earthers will say that they don't necessarily believe in them and that they think there's a lot of balloons. And there is a classified, very, very advanced balloon project that is going on, and it is conducting a massive surveillance on the public. This is just a
balloons
fact,
exist, yeah.
but yeah, and like immense fleets of military surveillance balloons, and NASA's the number one purchaser of helium in the world, and this is true. But satellites are not a problem for flat Earth. That's just a belief that it is, but it's not. Actually, the satellite equations use geocentric physics and equations. They use real inertial forces, as if the Earth is stationary in what's called an Earth-centered, Earth-fixed frame, or an ECI, Earth-centered inertial frame. And it's not to get all into the technical aspects. Satellites are not exclusive at all to a globe Earth or a moving Earth. In fact, it's exclusive to a stationary Earth based on the physics and equations they use. And then for it to be on a plane Earth, it would just be an ellipse. But to answer your question precisely,
wait, hold on. It would be an ellipse. I mean, what does that mean? So satellites exist. They're floating above us, above the atmosphere, but they're just continually circling a plane.
Yeah, they certainly could be, right? Like I've seen Starlink myself. I've watched launches myself. I know that there's what people call Starlinks in the sky. It's not a problem at all because it's just a coordinate system transformed from a globe to a plane, and the actual physics and equation treat the Earth as if it's stationary.
No, it doesn't.
That should be significant because it's not just, oh, it's a coordinate system, you can treat it like that because it's from the Earth. No, it's using physics in the equations, and specifically inertial forces, which do not exist in the relativistic globe model, which means if the satellites are up there and they are working, if they're proof of anything, to quote PhD astronomer Gerardus Bow, it's proof that the Earth is stationary and the universe is geocentric. But those people that made the pieces aren't.
See, that's a completely fallacious extrapolation. I mean, so ECI, right? Earth-centered inertial coordinates versus what is it, ECEF, something like that, Earth-centered, Earth-fixed, right? So, both of these are coordinate systems for a spherical Earth. The only difference is one of them takes the spin of the Earth into account while the other one doesn't. First of all, that this is it requires a spherical Earth, first of all, right, for these coordinates to make any sense. They also take into account the spinning of the Earth, meaning it's not stationary. One of them doesn't take into account the spinning of the Earth, but it's not because it's not spinning. It's just because that's not the coordinate system just doesn't rely on the spinning of the Earth.
What? Exactly, yes. What keeps the planet moving at 66,000 miles an hour? Beam me up, Elon. Exactly. Like what? So now the rotation don't count, like it, because the rotation just don't count. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yo, seriously, real talk. I was like that too. If I didn't know anything about flat Earth, I would defend the globe by making it up as there's so many people that do that. You know what I'm saying? Like they run out of things to think about, or they run out of what they think is the truth, and then they're like, "Oh, that's because of the dark matter in introspection." You know what I'm saying? You get the gravitational pull, and what it does is it beams up extra units of power that get digested through the ether. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know nothing about that, so I can't help you. So you have people that talk that pass the pork chop nonsense. They totally miss the mark, and they think they're just going to fool you with their spells. Whatever you say, bro, it's still flat. Like it's still level. It doesn't display curvature anywhere. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. Like really, when I start getting mocked, I don't know what else to tell them, and I tell them, I don't know, bro. I didn't make this place, bro. Ask the Most High. Ask him. He built this place. It's flat. Sorry. The definition of a sphere is a 3D representation of a 2D circle flat. Yep. The only mass that attracts is mass. That's a good one. I'm happy to use that one.
Regardless of any outcome of those, that has nothing to do with whether the sun is circling the Earth. It's about satellites.
I'm not talking about, yeah, I'm not talking about the sun. I'm saying that
You
the
said
actual
geocentric
physics.
universe.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that's because they use forces of a rotating universe. They actually treat the universe as if it's rotating and creating real inertial forces, specifically centrifugal, Coriolis, and Euler forces. And in the globe model, those are fictitious forces, they're not real. In a stationary Earth model, the universe is actually rotating around the Earth, creating angular momentum.
Mhm.
Satellites would be using that on a stationary Earth. Well, that's what the physics and equations show. They treat it as if the universe is rotating around the Earth, creating a real force, and they have to account for them to put the satellites up. And then on a plane, is that you're right, that is a globe, but on a plane, that's just a coordinate system transform. It becomes an ellipse, and it takes the same flower of life geometry I showed earlier. Actually, one of those depictions was the ISS path, right?
So,
And that's just mapped out on a plane.
But continual motion would, in that case, I mean, with an orbit, either continual motion is a consequence of just the fact that there's no wind resistance, and so once your initial velocity basically will be maintained with a little bit of variance because of the tiny amount of atmosphere that does exist outside of what we consider the atmosphere, the 62-mile delineation, which is not a scientific delineation, it's an aeronautical delineation, determining whether or not you can fly using conventional methods or whether you need rocket propulsion. So you can have inertia that exists that continually rocket something around the Earth without additional input. But if something's just floating above a plane, it either needs to be pushed in a way that that's continually being pushed, but even if not, it would need something to change its direction. I mean, how do you explain that? Satellites just floating above us in ellipses, you would need external forces. That would require fuel. That would be pretty obvious to the people building the satellite, right?
Okay, and this is why Austin showed you the toroidal field on many occasions. So my thing so I'm caught between a rock and a hard place of stupidity, and I'm just playing like I know. So I don't know. I don't think this guy is stupid, but I don't know if he's either not paying attention or he's just playing dumb. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like, I'm caught between three places here with this Smith character, and he's being a character, saying so then how does it happen if you're not using fuel? Like, bro, like, are you not listening? And this is why he just totally dismissed Austin, totally dismisses him. No, 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 no. And then he's like, well, how do you do that? It's like, well, if you were listening, you would have known, instead of just knowing him to death, you would have known he touched on that already. That's why he showed you that toroidal field. Wake up. Estimated 144 miles high. Huh. That I did not know.
No, like I said, they use the actual force of the universe rotating around the Earth in the physics and equations. And so on a stationary Earth, that's it. Instead of the Earth spinning, making the illusion that the sky spins, right? It's actually the sky spinning around the Earth like we observed. That would generate a real force. It would have angular momentum and there would be a net inward force. So if you threw something up in it, it would just continually move around with the universe's momentum, the actual angular momentum and force of the universe. And what I'm pointing out is that's literally the physics and equations that they use. And
But you're still
that's a
describing
big
a
deal.
spherical Earth.
Mm.
Well, that's why I point out that the end of it, right? Because that actually is a major problem for heliocentrism. But the plane part is just a coordinate system transform. You could think you're going around a globe and it would just be an ellipse over a plane and you would have no idea. They actually account for a change in velocity, which makes perfect sense with an ellipse. But in the globe model, it's supposedly free falling in a geodesic path, not changing velocity. Yet they actually do account for change in velocity and a change in the speed of light for the signals for GPS. So what they're actually doing and accounting for doesn't work with the model. It's just overlooked. People assume it. I wanted to address what you were asking though, the meta here, which is like, are these people in on it? No, of course not, bro. They think the Earth's a globe. They think we just use these coordinate systems for convenience sake, right? And it works. It's good enough. Who cares? They think they use Newtonian gravity, even though that's no longer the case. It works good enough. And people make little pieces for it. That's one of the main arguments for Apollo. It's like there were 300,000 people that were all in on it because they made pieces. It's like, No, they compartmentalize the job to everyday Americans. So you would ask me that question, right? So you would think it's legit.
That's not how compartmentalization works. I mean, compartmentalization is an aspect of like the military and secret operations. The people.
You know what? Your parents compartmentalize. Everybody has compartmentalized. So, well, he spoke on the military and he spoke on if you have a clearance, right? Your clearance can come with, you might have heard of secret, confidential, top secret TS, right? And a lot of times you may have caveats attached to your clearance, like SCI, special compartmented stuff, right? And so with the compartment, basically, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. That's it. So you could be in a program and I could be in a program. We could both have top secret clearances. And what I discuss amongst my peers within that same program is what we discuss. We cannot release that information to you unless you are, and vice versa. And even though we both have top secret clearances, it's all based on a need to know. So if you need to know, I can debrief you as to what it is we're doing, and vice versa. Other than that, you cannot. If you do, you get busted with 10 grand fine or like 15 years in prison, both of which suck, right? And so compartmenting is critical to any mission that you do, right? Hell, you can have a confidential clearance, right? Or just normal classification. But if there's a program and some kind of compartment attached to it, you best believe you ain't going to talk about it. You're not going to talk about what's going on within that compartment because that information is hermetically sealed. Your compartment is what you're doing in that compartment. They don't need to know about it. Compartmentalization is outside the military, not just in the military, but it's critical if you have something that holds levels of clearances, right? If you have some kind of work or some scope of work that holds different levels of clearances, you don't want any of that stuff getting mixed up and then everybody knowing everything. The project will never get done. But everybody has to work their small piece of that project in a bubble, basically, away from other influences. So yes, compartmentalization works beautifully.
People who are compartmentalized know they're compartmentalized. The people who are building satellites are in communication with the people building the other parts of the satellite, and they observe it as it flies, and then they get readings, data readings to determine whether or not the mission was successful. So they would have to be fed fake information, or like what happens to, they think they're launching a satellite into orbit. Are they not? Or is there a parallel industry that's doing the real math and feeding them the fake information? You get this whole thing just sort of falls apart the more you think about it. And that's not even getting into the secrecy aspect where you'd have to, again, either have these people who are doing this for decades without even either noticing that something is wrong or admitting or letting it leak out that something is wrong. The scale of conspiracy, especially now with all of these private companies going into space, is so vast. And again, nonsensical, man. If I was the mastermind, the Jesuit priest that figured out that there's a firmament and wants to trick everybody, the last thing I would do would be come up with a lie that would set up generations of having to fake things, right? You could just say, yeah, we tried to go to space. It turns out there's like crazy radiation and everybody dies. So let's not try to leave. Like there's a million other ways you could do it. You're thinking they went with the strategy of let's fake space travel for the next 100 years, on a continual basis.
This guy, I think Alex, I don't know why Alex Jones decided to hold on to that grenade with him, because I don't know how he got a job with InfoWars. Thinking and talking like that, how does it land you a job on InfoWars? Of all social media, right? How do you think like that and manage to work with Alex Jones? Alex Jones says some of the most outlandish things, whether you believe it or not, whether it's true or not. A lot of times he's like cutting edge. He is on the fringe of information a lot of times. Back in the day, it was like, damn, Alex Jones crazy. You know what I'm saying? But when you're on the fringe of information, you look crazy. how does this guy not see that or understand that? It blows my mind. But I give Austin Whitsitt props for just sitting there, hanging in there, man, biting his tongue.
As a conspiracy theorist, somebody who sits here and thinks and talks about conspiracies every day, this falls utterly, pardon the pun, flat. This makes no sense as a conspiracy at all.
Well, I strongly disagree, brother. Like, for one, let's not conflate like if satellites are up there with space travel. Those are fundamentally different things. I mean, they're not really faking space that much. They claim they went in the 60s and haven't gone back for 50 years and destroyed the technology and blah blah blah. We've caught NASA faking it. So I encourage everyone to investigate that. You can actually go to my channel. I have a NASA fraud series I just started. We have objectively caught them faking things using wires, harnesses, green screens, bubbles in space, and people laugh because it sounds so ridiculous. You know how many things you laughed at when you first heard and you found out it's true? If I told you the world was going to shut down overnight, start using prison terms like lockdown, you would think I was crazy as well. We've caught NASA lying and faking it, and really they've got to put it off. They just kick the ball down the road over and over and over. They kick the can down the road, right? Oh, the moon mission's delayed again. So they haven't had to fake that much. And I don't even contend that satellites could be up there. It's not a problem. And the people that are working on it aren't in on it. To quote Gene Kranz, the Apollo flight director from the Apollo missions, he said, the simulations are so good that no one in the control room can tell the difference between the simulations and the real thing. And astronauts have come out and said that when they supposedly were going on these missions, they thought it was fake. They couldn't even tell the difference. So absolutely they wouldn't be in on it. They're just being fed the system through globe coordinate system, EPS corrections. And this gets into technical things. I will just say this. They're good questions. And I think if you're open-minded about your questions and open to the answers of them, when you really do dig into it, you find out, oh, wow, they're making corrections for the Sagnac effect because it doesn't work and it shows different distances. They're making meridian corrections in the south because the distances don't work like they should on the globe. They're actually running it through programs to correct and then put it out to the people on the other end as if it was in fact the globe that's working. And these are provable things that require diligent research. So I don't think that the lie is really going to require that many people be in on it. They just believe the lie, right? And by the way, many people have found out it's not true. We've even had people that were astronauts come out and say, anyone telling you they're going to outer space, I guarantee you, is lying. We've had a Polish astronaut come out and say, I wasn't expecting this question, but yes, the Earth is flat. No one's going to outer space. I think that well, let me say this one more thing, dude. You might find this interesting. I went and talked to astronauts myself, okay? And I caught them lying. I asked them, do you see the stars on the day side of the Earth when you're in space next to the sun? And they said, no, you can't see the stars because of the sun. But the official story is that you can only not see the stars during daytime because of the Earth's atmosphere, and you can see them in space. And half the astronauts that have supposedly been to space said you can see the stars. It's pitch black. It's amazing. You can even see them by the sun.
Right.
I looked an astronaut in the face and asked them, and they lied. So why are they lying, right? Like,
well, I've heard that, but you're comparing two different situations. I mean, some astronauts say, yeah, we could see the stars. Other astronauts say we couldn't see the stars, but they weren't next to each other on the same mission, looking out the same window. So these are just different accounts of different situations. That doesn't prove anything to me. It just proves sometimes you can see the stars, sometimes you can't, depending on the source and strength of the light and the angle of the reflection off the Earth, or where you're looking out the window of the spaceship. I mean, these things are not proof that the Earth is flat or that astronauts are lying. It's proof that there are different conditions at different times and space in Earth. But we only have about 2 minutes left here. Do you think that this is a valuable thing to spend time on? I mean, we know all of the things going on in the world, and we probably agree on 99% of things. It's just this one thing that we disagree on, which to me, again, the fact that this came out of nowhere, that nobody talked about flat Earth before. I mean, and you can do the reason, you can look into the archives. Nobody talked about flat Earth. Flat Earth Society existed. You say it's a CIA a psyop, but it's also the font where most of these arguments came from. So that isn't exactly, positive for the flat Earth model. Divide, distract, discredit. It's a divide and conquer influence operation. It's something that splits our audience down the middle, and suddenly we're talking.
Ghost, I feel you, bro. This little group in here, all that crap that they're talking about now, They are going to be eating crow pie here in a little bit. They are going to be eating their words, and they're going to feel bad. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Ghost. I agree. They're really trying to get, yeah, they are. They're doing their best, but it's not working. This is why the US is trying to get rid of TikTok. This is what you only record, subscribe a globe. Yep. Hmm. Yeah. I love it too, man. I love it too. And man, it's crazy, but people, especially the young folks are really starting to see that this world is what it is, right? And so they're trying to poison us. They're trying to wash the memory. This is why I said a few weeks ago, they're trying to wash the memory of us, of the American people, of the world at large. They're trying to get rid of the people that are starting to see the truth. That's probably how the reset happened and why they had so many asylums back in the day, because there were survivors of the reset. And so, what do you do with the survivors that witness some crazy stuff? You throw them in a crazy house and you run lobotomies on them, knowing damn well that stuff is going to drive them, is going to mess their brain up, and it's going to kill them.
Talking about flat Earth instead of things that are actually important. I think this has been an extremely successful psyop launched around the time that the Smith-Mundt Act, Modernization Act, was passed, allowing for propaganda in the American media landscape.
Oh boy.
That doesn't really, I mean, that allows the government through their liaisons in the media to actually lie to us, but they're not doing that. They're saying no ancient civilization ever knew that thought the earth was flat. They're blatantly lying about it and misrepresenting it. They do clearly use it as a way to discredit other conspiracies, but it's just like, oh, I bet you're an anti-vaxxer. Like, just because someone uses it that way to dismiss people doesn't mean there's no validity to it. As to the psyop, what I'm going to reiterate is, if it's a psyop, it's not working very well, because everyone that finds out that the Earth is a geocentric stationary plane are taking their children out of school. They're homeschooling. They're not falling for medical like psyops. They're not falling for any of the stuff going on, the political shenanigans. They see through all of it, and it brings them all back to a very founded spiritual aspect of their life. And again, you asked me if I think it's important. I do think it's important, bro, because I could very easily talk about other things, right? And I wouldn't be nearly as kind of put into a corner, but I don't, because this unravels.
We're coming
all
to the show here. I just want to thank you for doing this. This has been extremely fun. I know it's been extremely
Yeah.
popular. Austin Whitsitt at Whitsitt Gets It on X. Go follow him.
There he is. We know what it is, y'all. We know what it is. We know what it is. It's crazy, man. Look, like, it's a good thing that Austin was there. Now we have to look and we have to see what other outlets is on, like YouTube and Rumble and stuff like that. So you have things like the Jimmy Dore Show, right? You've got the Jimmy Dore Show. You've got Russell Brand. You've got Redacted. I don't know if you guys follow them, but these guys have big channels, right? And they have millions of viewers. You got the Young Turks. You got Dr. Shiva. So these guys have a lot of followers. On all those Tucker Carlson, on all these shows, not one flat earth. Not one. Not one. Not one flat earth. You've got us. We're there. We're there. It's not like we're in the cut hiding out. We're here. We're available, right? You've got David Weiss. David Weiss has gone to a little girl's channel to promote her stuff so he could run interviews with her, right? A little girl. So you mean to tell me Tucker Carlson and them ain't got access to somebody like David Weiss so he could get words from him to see why he's promoting the true and level and flat earth? No, it's a total freaking side to keep us away from knowing what this world and this realm is. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was legit, or if it wasn't legit, oh, they were like, oh yeah, you can talk about that all day. Aliens? Oh yeah, talk about that with some aliens and a sprinkle of Bigfoot. We good, man. Talk about that all day. Matter of fact, we'll send you somebody from the Navy that was in the Navy that said they saw Bigfoot. Right? They don't care about that. But this true and level earth, they understand the implications if people were to get on board and see this place for what it truly was. Like I don't even think we fully grasp, and I'm talking about us too, in this class, in the class, in the team, right? In this group, we don't fully grasp what would happen if everybody were to find this place as flat leveling play. Made Harrison Smith look Harrison Smith made Harrison Smith look stupid. He did. Whitsitt let him talk. Usually Whitsitt is ready to kill somebody, man. But he just let him ride, man. He let him ride out. He let him ride out and just let him do this. And he just listened. You know what I'm saying? Harrison Smith really didn't have nothing evident, any scientific evidence to provide. Where Austin was always, Austin always brings his A game. He could have brought his Z game and he was going to win this debate anyway. It didn't, it just don't matter. Not tonight. And the dude was just totally opinion based. He's like, well, I don't think, well, I don't feel, well, I never seen it like that. And then Alex Jones was like, me and my dad, when we had our 6-packs and we had a couple of, nobody really does the telescopes anymore. But when me and my dad, when we did it, I'm like, no matter what you and your pops did, man. It don't matter. You a turncoat at this point, Alex Jones. I'm sorry. But I'm still going to show his channel love. I'm still going to show his channel love. But we understand he's been compromised. He's been compromised, and probably guys like Redacted, Jimmy Dore, Tucker Carlson. These dudes are doing their best to provide, I guess you could say, fringe news. But if they go to the flat Earth, they already know they're going to get demonetized. And these guys have a staff, and their staff is on a payroll, so they do not want to play with that can of smoke. Do y'all understand where I'm coming from? Yep. If you can handle it, this is why Rumble is such an important channel. This is why Rumble is so important. Because at least on Rumble, you can say what the hell you want, man. But the US is trying to monopolize the whole media market. And then by the time they do, man, all this flat earth stuff, and they get a hold of our bank accounts, they're gonna cut our damn money off, man. They're gonna cut off the flow and stream of money altogether. It's a shame. Well, that's about our time, family. We are here. It is well past the midnight hour on the East Coast. It's 12:33. And yeah, I'm getting ready to fly out tomorrow to St. Louis. My little girl's having her confirmation. So I got to go see that take place. I'm going to go see my little girl. And it is late. I got a morning flight tomorrow. So yeah, I got to take that point. But family, I'm so happy that you joined me this evening. Be sure to tune in on Friday, Flat Earth Friday, on the Ghost of Judah Tribes channel. And if you hadn't subbed to the Ghost of Judah Tribe, be sure to do that ASAP. We're going to be there this Friday, funking it out on Flat Earth Friday with the Ghost of Judah Tribe. Also, before you get up out of here, make sure to like, make sure to sub if you're shadow watching or ghost watching, whatever they call it. And make sure to share this content. Man, we had a good ass time tonight, man. A couple more weeks, I'm going to have that on point internet. So this is going to be smooth as hell. Anyway, family, you guys have a good night. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity. Most of all, wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. If it's good enough for you and me and good enough for Solomon, man, it's good enough for everybody. Well, with that, family, I love you. I'm out. Peace.